Join Marty Johnson, the holistic health practitioner and founder of Total Health Nutrition Center in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, as he delivers these podcasts to enlighten you and give you hope that there are health solutions to conditions that seem difficult to resolve, or even better answers than a medical approach of prescribing a chemical drug, which most times is nothing more than a Band-Aid fix, rather than getting to the root cause of your problem. The mission of the Total Health podcast is to provide the education and support that will lead to transforming people's healths so they can live a much more efficient, productive, and happier life the way God intended it to be. Join him now for his latest podcast.
Okay, today we're going to talk about potential hidden causes of headaches or migraines. And I've spoken on this before, but wanted to just kind of wrap up several potential, maybe, untalked about causes of headaches. A lot of times we're familiar with different causes such as stress, and some people will get headaches during their men's cycle or for other reasons, but with weather change and so forth. But I want to talk to you about some causes of headaches that oftentimes are not talked about. So over the 25 plus years of working with people in natural health, I really discovered various atypical patterns of imbalances that can lead to headaches or migraines that really oftentimes are missed in conventional testing. And the most common pattern that I see is what I call the liver gallbladder headache. So when the liver or gallbladder are not clearing toxins as efficiently as it is normally supposed to, there really is stress or distress signal sent along what is called the meridian pathways. Okay, so in Chinese medicine or acupuncture, there's what they call meridians, and that's the whole basis of what acupuncture is driven off of, is that there are these invisible energetic pathways that run from different centers of the brain and run through different organs and eventually actually download or ground out through the feet and through the hands. And there's 12 of these meridians, and the actual meridian that runs through the liver also runs through kind of almost like a ram's horn. It kind of circles around the temple area and goes right behind the optic nerve or right through the optic nerve. So when the liver is out of balance, it actually will send distress through that whole meridian, triggering a headache in the temple areas often, or behind the eyes, or even oftentimes I've observed it will start, because of where the meridians lie or run from the liver, it'll start from the very back of your head, right where the skull starts, and run up to the front of the head behind the eyes. And oftentimes I see a pattern with what I call a liver headache, and so when the liver is inefficient, that can trigger that. And what I've found also is that many times when a headache is triggered that way, the conventional things that normally would give relief don't seem to work either at all or as well, like your ibuprofen, or even from a natural standpoint, maybe doing feverfew or willow bark, things like that, don't seem to work very well at all when the liver is triggering this type of headache. The other aspect that can happen is when a woman is cycling. So in other words, either 2 days prior to their men's cycle, anywhere from 2 days prior to 2 or 3 days after their men's cycle, they can have a migraine or headache triggered if the liver is less efficient in metabolizing estrogen out. So as we're nearing, or as a woman is nearing that men's cycle, the liver is going to be getting rid of or downloading estrogens or estrogen byproducts, metabolites, to get rid of. The liver is designed to do that. And if it's not doing that efficiently, it will trigger headaches on these same meridian lines as well, because of this, the same exact issue that we talked about. So it can be a very frustrating thing, obviously, when you're almost counting on this headache every month. I've seen some cases where some women will actually get a headache triggered at ovulation and with their men's cycle. And you can imagine how that month is going, and you're doing that month to month, so you're getting 2 major headaches every month. That's no way to live. Oftentimes when we help to clear the liver or help it to function more efficiently, which we look at the various reasons why the liver might be backed up, whether there's a specific type of toxicity, contributing to that issue, like a chemical or a heavy metal like lead or mercury. A lot of times we want to determine that first and then clear that toxin, and then also support the liver to more efficiently metabolize, or we call it methylation. Okay, so we want to help the liver methylize better and get rid of those toxic estrogens or other toxins that might be building up. So that's a major area that we see for headaches. The second one is when the kidneys are less efficient. So the liver can be up to 40% less efficient and still look totally fine on blood work. And so therefore there's this huge gray area where everything's looking normal, yet a person's suffering with different symptoms. When the kidneys are not as efficient and they're not clearing as well, the kidneys can be up to 40% or more inefficient and still look fine on blood work. And yet a person could have generalized back discomfort because there's muscles called the psoas muscles that run right over the top of the kidneys, and those muscles will tighten up when the kidneys are not functioning as efficient. And that psoas muscle ties in right in the spine. We call it the mid-thoracic spine, which is right in the middle of your back. So when those muscles start to tense up, it pulls on the spinal erectors and the muscles in your back, and it can actually trigger a headache in the back of the head. And sometimes for some people that can run up to the front of the head, or you can even get these hot spots where there's just like sore spots on top of the skull that feel like a headache, or just even to the touch, they're tender. So we, obviously we call this a kidney headache, and this is more of a muscular tension type of situation caused by the kidneys when they're unhappy, again, causing tension to that psoas muscle. Now that psoas muscle goes all the way down through the hips and ties in to different structures in the legs and hips, and therefore can also cause a lot of tightness in the hips, and the legs can feel heavy when the kidneys are not functioning as well because of this muscle tightening up. The last thing I want to quickly talk about is not as common, but something that if through medical tests and even through tests that we do as a naturopathic clinic, if they're not flushing out any obvious things like liver, kidneys, stress, if MRIs look fine and there's no really logical answer to why a person's having headaches or migraines, then we start looking at the health of a person's teeth. So what can happen is if a person's ever had an extraction, a tooth extraction, which a lot of people have had sometime in their life, even if it's been years and years ago with wisdom teeth, or a root canal, what can happen is there could be bacteria or that has gotten down into that root canal, or bacteria that has gotten into that tooth extraction area that has been there for years. And what can happen is that bacteria can actually cause problems or start to create this infection in the jawbone, deep in that jawbone. And they call this a cavitation. And there's different books written on cavitations, like the root canal cover-up is one of them, for example. But these cavitations can go unfelt, meaning that a person may not have actual pain in that localized area, but it can cause a lot of health problems, because if you have an infection going on in that jaw where that tooth either was or where the root canal is, the bloodstream can carry that infection to different organs and can start to actually create problems with different organs and structures, but primarily, for the sake of our talk, can also trigger migraines indirectly, either because of what they call mycotoxins, which are from infections, or just based on where that jaw is and where the meridians run through that area, because all 12 meridians also run through the jaw and through your teeth, and therefore when there's an infection going on in a particular area where a tooth was or is, it can trigger imbalances in different parts of the body, like headaches or migraines. So this is an area where, if we suspect that there might be an issue, we do have equipment that can scan to see if there's problems in teeth and in the jaw. But then we would send a person to a special type of dentist, more of a holistic dentist, that has equipment that looks at this issue at a much deeper level. And if there is something going on, then either they have the expertise to handle these issues, or they know the right people, are connected with the right people to handle these issues. Because oftentimes a conventional dentist, really, they don't look for these types of issues, and they don't really know how to handle them in the correct manner. So I hope this gives you a little more insight, and maybe for some of you, maybe some hope as to how, if you're struggling with headaches, that there is some other potential solutions and possibilities of root causes of why they're occurring. And if there's something that you want to dig deeper on or talk with a practitioner at our office, you're welcome to do that. It's a no-charge phone consultation to just have a conversation and find out if this might be part of the issue that's going on if you're suffering with headaches. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us today on the Total Health Podcast. If you'd like more information about how Total Health can transform your health, check them out. They would love to set up a free consultation with you over the phone. Call them at 262-251-2929 to make that appointment. Otherwise, you can check them out on the web at www.totalhealthinc.com.